How to make smoked venison snack sticks. To be honest, any type of snack stick is awesome. They're great for the kids and the family, and for you just to have a treat when you go to work. So grab your grinder and a hunk of meat, rye. We're gonna amplify some backyard barbecue fun. For some of you, getting venison isn't that easy, so you can always replace it with beef. Now, because of scheduling, this has taken me 3 days to process these snack sticks. The first day, my good friend Sam came over and we trimmed up a deer that he shot the night before. He at least skinned it and broke it down to quarters so we didn't have to deal with that process too. Now, both of us got pretty fussy when we were trimming up this venison. We wanted to get off all the silver skin and any of that connecting tissue that holds that chunk of protein together. That just ends up being way too tough and chewy even on sausage. The great thing about trimming up your own deer, you know that it's your meat, and number two, you can spend as much time as you want trimming it up. But the more of that gobbledygook, that I like to call it, that you get out of that meat, the less gamey that sausage is gonna taste. Especially the fat on venison, that's just gross. To trim up those 4/4 took us about 3 hours. So yeah, we were pretty fussy. After running it through the grinder on a coarse cut, we ended up with just about 30 pounds of venison meat. We vacuum sealed them into 5-pound bags and put them back in the freezer. I also cubed up some boneless pork butt and coarse ground that too. And what I had left over from that pork that didn't fit in a 5-pound bag, I made a little bit of Italian sausage out of it. So if you don't have a grinder, get one, because you can do all kinds of things with a nice grinder. Plus, you can get your kids to run the grinder. They're gonna love it. They don't really like to clean it up afterwards, but just make them do it. Everything that I need to make these snack sticks are right in this box from PS Seasoning. And I'm doing the hot snack stick sausage kit. So our seasoning, our cure, and our casings are all in this box. This makes it really simple to do it at home. Now in the step-by-step instructions, it does say that you need 20 pounds of wild game and 5 pounds of pork. But when it comes to venison, it's super lean. So I'm going 10 pounds of pork to 15 pounds of venison. Now, I did put this back in the freezer for a couple hours just so it's stiffen up. You want your meat nice and cold when you're doing that last grind. After I get about 15 pounds in the lug, then I like to mix it up a little bit. It's just easier than waiting for all 25. Just start grinding her up and squishing her together a little bit. And you can hear and see that we're still kind of frozen, and that's great. Get another pack in there. I'll just blend up this last 10 pounds, get it kind of intermingled between the pork and the venison a little bit. Now, if you're gonna do this whole process by hand, get some cotton liners because it'll save the cold from your fingertips. Now it's time to add our seasonings. You can do this when you have everything cubed up. You can mix your seasonings then, but because I have more than what I need in venison, I didn't want to add any of my seasonings to any of those packets. Cut her off. Start sprinkling her on. Spread that all the way across the trough. Now that looks like a lot of seasoning, but it's not. Just mix this in a little too. That'll help incorporate all those flavors throughout this meat. And then we're gonna be grinding it, so it's gonna get spread throughout this meat even more. And then finally, we put it through our mixer. All right, this is looking pretty decent. Getting it all the way down to the bottom and bringing it up to top. Get our empty lug in. We'll start filling up our hopper on our grinder. Now, I don't really ever force anything through the grinder, and you only want your grinder to run when it's actually grinding meat. Down to my last hopper to grind. After I get done, I'll put this meat back in the fridge while I get my mixer set up. It's time to start mixing up this sausage, and we're starting off with 2 cups of distilled water along with our maple cure. Just get that and pour it in here. And then just take a spoon and mix it up so it dissolves a little quicker. And I have my hopper tilted forward just so you can kind of see what I'm doing, but I don't want to fill this full to start off with. This is a 25-pound mixer, and I got 25 pounds. That kind of gives you an idea. Let's get it tilted up. I've got my cure. I'm gonna pour that in, just run it over the top a little bit. I'm gonna turn this on and just loosen it up a little bit. I did check before I started filling it to make sure that it was hooked up correctly. So we can stop it again and we'll fill it the remainder of the way. I always like to double check to make sure that that shaft is in correctly before I fill it all the way up and I don't have to start over. Get the remainder of our grind in and add another cup of water. Mix it around a little bit, get the rest of that cure out of here. Pour that in. You want to use about an ounce of water per pound of meat. That's why I'm using 3 cups. We're gonna turn it on and spin this for 5 minutes because we want that protein extraction to start to go to work. Now after a couple minutes, I do stop it and take off the lid and scrape it down. Just want to get stuff off the edges pushed in. My 5-minute timer went off. Let's shut it down and see if we're starting to get really nice and tacky. I just usually take a glob, and if it holds like this, oh yeah, you want it to stick to your hand or to your glove, and then you know that protein extraction is working. So we'll release it and we'll start digging this out. Obviously my blades are in the way right now a little bit, but we'll work it loose. But boy, oh boy, this is going to be good. All right, we got enough out. We can get our blade out of there. Continue scooping out the stuffing. So now, put this back in the fridge, and then we're gonna get our stuffer set up. It's time to start stuffing. Now this is only a 5-pounder, so I'm gonna be doing this for a while. But take your meat, shove it in there, and make sure that you're packing it in tight because you wanna get all that air out of it. One big handful, and that should do it to it. In between fills, I put this back in the fridge. Get our canister on, just slides in. And we start cranking her in, and we're gonna get it so it starts and comes out the nozzle. There we go, back it off. We're loaded. Now I'm using collagen casings. Just gonna start it and load up our horn. Now you can do this by yourself, but it's a little tougher. I hired myself a crank man. Makes it a lot easier to do this with 2 people. He'll start squirting it out. Nice, easy, steady turn, and you'll fill them up perfect. Almost to the end of this collagen casing roll here. Now I got a big sheet pan here, and then I just take this sausage and we just start getting it lined up in this pan because I use this for a guide when we go ahead and cut these and put them in the smoker. Now you will have a couple blowouts once in a while. It happens. Air pocket. There we are. We are to the end. All right, here's our 25 pounds of snack sticks. I'm gonna put them back in the fridge and let them plume and develop even a better flavor. Plus it'll give that maple cure a little bit more time to do its magic. Now it's time to get these hot snack sticks in the smokehouse. But I figured I better show you how I do this and prep them because we're gonna hang them. Now I have these all measured out for my smoker. But I'm skipping every other loop here. As you can see, we'll have a loop down on this end, and then we have them cut on this, and that's the part that's gonna be a hanging. Now, obviously, when you get to certain points, you might have to kind of adjust them a little bit because I didn't actually measure these out so each rope will be the same length. But I just take my hanging rod and we just start grabbing these and putting them on. Now obviously you're gonna have to keep these kind of spaced out for inside that smoker because we want to get as much smoke flavor as they can grab. We want at least an inch of separation in between these, and then I just lay them back down and then we'll get them in the smoker soon. Now you can use any type of smoker that you got, but it does make it easier if you have an electric one because you want to run these at a lower temperature so they dry out slowly, because if you run them real hot and fast with these collagen casings, you could end up having some blowouts if they're cooking too quick. I'll finish up the prep to get these so they're ready to hang. I got my smokehouse preheating to 120 degrees. I'll bring it back when we start loading these up in the pit. So I'm loading up the PK100 and I wanted to show you how I'm going to monitor the temperature inside these sticks. I got my signal set up with one probe and I'm gonna drop it right down the smokestack. And this is gonna be my stick that I'm gonna monitor. Just get them punctured through and get them pretty much right in the center. We're just gonna hold it like that. Get another hanging rod in, and it's so simple. Just get it, set it in here, slide it in. You might have to adjust it a little bit. Don't drag them across the rod or you're gonna end up breaking them. And the last but not least, get him in there. That don't look too bad for government work, that's for sure. We'll just close up the door. And I'm gonna dry these out for a half an hour at 120 degrees. I'll bring you back when it's time to add some smoke. My 30-minute timer went off, and now it's time to do the fun part. We're gonna add the smoke. I've got a little over a half a pan of hickory sawdust. First, we gotta add a little bit of water to it and mix that up because we don't want this just to burn. And you want this sawdust damp. Oh yeah, we're starting to get that good emulsification. It's all the protein in this hickory wood. Just kidding. Now once you get it all mixed up good, you just kind of want to pull it from the center, because that way it'll start on fire and work its way out. Get the smokehouse opened up. Oh yeah, we're already starting to develop some nice color on these sticks. And then we take our sawdust and we place it right under here on top of that little burner. And we're going to turn the PK up to 130 degrees. And if you're new to my channel, this is Donger and this is Moby. It's a little long, we've probably got to push them in a little bit. Could have just thrown them in the snowbank, because we're gonna start smoking in here, and in the studio, it's not a lot of fun when I get smoked out. I'm gonna run this for an hour, and then I'll bring it back and let's check on some color. My 1 hour timer went off. Let's check and see if we're developing any color yet. Pop open the latch, get it opened up. Woo, look at that smoke. Oh yeah, we're starting to develop a little mahogany color to it. They're starting to look good. You can see we got some nice smoke rolling out of there. Our next step, I'm gonna raise this smokehouse up to 150 degrees internal. And now I'm gonna set a timer for another hour. We're gonna keep rolling some smoke on them sticks. My 1 hour timer went off and I've been cooking for about 2.5 hours right now. I'm gonna put on a welding glove and I'm gonna get that sawdust pan out. And for the most part, we burnt it all up. Now one thing I want to mention is that I'm adding some water to the bottom of that drip pan. In the studio, it's 61 degrees, but I only have about 37% humidity, because obviously it's winter, so the humidity is low. But if you're doing this during the summertime, you probably don't have to add any water. And we're just gonna dump in a couple cups right now. We don't want these casings to get hard, and that moisture is gonna help prevent that. But we certainly got some good color from that hickory smoke. For the last part of the cooking process, we're gonna crank the little PK up to 180 degrees. And now we're just gonna be monitoring these hot sticks until they've reached an internal temperature of 155 degrees. So the next time you see me, we'll be pulling these out of the smoker. I reached an internal temperature of 156 degrees on these snack sticks, and the total cook time was just a little over 10 hours. So this is certainly something that you're not gonna wanna start at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. When I reached an internal temperature of 145 degrees on these sticks, I took out my thermal pen and checked, and we were running right around 140 to 145 degrees on all of these sticks. But let's open her up and check and see how they look. Oh yeah, these are looking awesome. Great color. Give them one last check with my thermal pen. Get it in. Oh yeah, 157, 158, 154, 155. I guess somebody didn't have his camera on, so we missed the actual reading, but oh yeah. Winner. Now I'm putting them in an ice bath to cool them down. Careful when you're doing this that you balance these, or you're gonna end up having a couple on the floor. Just wanna get a couple in. This really cold water is actually sitting outside. Man, from smelling these for the last 10 hours, I'm freaking hungry. Now, add some ice. Get this in. And we're gonna let these soak for about 15 minutes. Then I'm gonna towel them dry and put them back in the refrigerator for another hour. And that's gonna help these bloom up well. They're gonna get even a little darker. These are looking really good. I love the color. It's time to start slicing them up. I typically just put something on my cutting board so I have some type of reference. Take my knife, split them, run it out to the edge, kind of guesstimate. I'm making these about 7 inches. Now you can do these on any pit that you have. You just want to make sure that you're bringing these temperatures up nice and slow. After I get these all trimmed up, we're gonna vacuum seal them, and they'll stay in the fridge for at least 2 to 3 weeks. But I got 25 pounds here, so I'll freeze them and they'll last for months. These work great for in your lunchbox, or if you're just driving to grandma's house down the road. This is a long process, but it is so worth it at the end. There's nothing better than your own homemade snack sticks. I really like venison, but I'll be honest with you, I'll take that whole deer and make it into snack sticks, jerky, and even summer sausage. Speaking of summer sausage, that's what I'm doing this weekend. And I'll be using some of my new tools that I ordered that you haven't even seen yet. Plus, I got a super huge announcement about Ernie. So stay tuned. I think I got enough sliced up. Better try a piece. We'll take this one right here. I don't know. Not bad. Next time, I'll probably add a little bit more pork butt to it and go like a 50-50 instead of a 60-40. Because you know venison is really lean, but this still isn't that bad. Here goes nothing. Little snap, it's not dry. I can taste the smoke, and I really like this hot stick seasoning from PS Seasoning. Seasoning. I'm a repeater. They're not hot, they're just a little spicy. Yeah. If you've been thinking about trying to do some type of sausage or hot stick recipe, just check the description below because PS Seasonings has everything already available in one kit. It's great for beginners and people that don't want to waste time measuring out ingredients. Well, that's all I got. Roll the nation. I know, when I make a video, it looks so easy, but it's actually hard work. I can't believe you haven't subscribed yet. What, do you just eat fruit?